Rayman is a little character without arms and legs. From 2D platforming to beautiful 3D world design. Rayman done it all, but where is he? Hey guys, I'm Nick, and today on the Spot we talk about Rayman 4, because where is it? First, let's go back in time and talk about the first 3 games.
Hi, folks! You wanna know what's going on? Let me tell you the story of Rayman!
Rayman 1 saw its first release in 1995. A basic but colorful 2D platformer. Every level looked like a dream, which presumably is the reason Rayman lives in a location called the Glade of Dreams. Rayman is created by the game designer Michel Ancel for Ubisoft. I'm not French, so... This is the story. Rayman lives in a valley that, thanks to a magical orb known as the Great Proton, has the people and nature living in harmony. One day, Mr. Dark steals the Great Proton and defeats its guardian, Batilla the Fairy. As a result, the Electoons that use to orbit the Great Proton scatter, and many are imprisoned by villains that appear in the Great Proton's absence. Rayman sets out to recover the Great Proton and free the captured Electoons. Mr. Dark observes as Batilla guides Rayman through his quest and eventually kidnaps her. Rayman, having retrieved all Electoons, confronts Mr. Dark in the Candy Chateau. However, Mr. Dark takes away Rayman's telescopic fist and traps him between walls of fire that close in on him. Electoons return Rayman's fist at the last moment, such that he can defeat Mr. Dark and retrieve the Great Proton. Now, I think it's easy to say the story is simple, so as the cutscenes, but the game is from 1995, so what can you say about it? Even though I talk like the game is easy, boy was I in for a treat when I first played this game. It looks simple, but the moment you finish the first world, it really shows they wanted to challenge the player, and it was indeed a challenge. I actually wanted to do a playthrough of this, but I don't think I'm willing to do that now. Let's go to the next Rayman. Rayman 2 The Great Escape saw its release in 1999. During the years there has been plenty of ports, but my version of The Great Escape was Revolution, because I only had a PS2. So that's the game I call Rayman 2. I heard that the community rather say the Nintendo 64 or the GameCube version is the best and the most stable one. I actually like the English Rayman, but the community rather hear the gibberish language from Rayman 2. The game was going to be in 2D, but after the rise of 3D games, the developer scrapped it and went full on 3D. I believe you can play Rayman 2 2D in a minigame in Rayman 3, but correct me if I'm wrong. The story goes: the destruction of the world's core significantly weakens and disables Rayman's powers, which leads to his subsequent capture and imprisonment on the Robo-Pirate's flying ship. Glowbox is also captured and put in the same cell as Rayman on the ship. Glowbox gives Rayman a silver lump from Lee, restoring some of his powers. Rayman plans to see Lee to restore the rest of his powers, and he and Glowbox escape the prison ship through a chute. However, the two are separated during the escape, falling in different directions down to the earth. Rayman eventually lands in the Woods of Light, where he meets Murphy, his guide throughout the game. Rayman then encounters Glowbox children and learns that the pirates have captured Lee. Traveling deeper into the woods, Rayman frees a group of teensies from a cage. After bickering among themselves about who among them is their king, the teensies inform Rayman of Lee's location in the Fairy Glade. The teensies use the yellow lumps Rayman collected to grant him access to the Hall of Doors, a network of portals to various areas throughout the Glade of Dreams. Rayman travels to the Fairy Glade and frees Lee, but she is too weakened by the destruction of the world's core to restore all of his powers. Lee instead tells Rayman of 4 ancient elemental masks hidden in the secret sanctuaries that can be used to awaken Polygus. After Lee grants him the ability to swing from purple lumps, Rayman sets off to find the masks. After giving Polygus the last mask, Polygus uses the power of all 4 masks to awaken himself, and he tells Rayman that he can destroy all Robo-Pirates in the Glade of Dreams on ground level, but not in the air. Polygus then sends Rayman to the pirate ship, where he must defeat Admiral Razorbeard and save Glowbox. On board on the ship, a general visits Razorbeard and presents to him the Grolgoth God damn, the name is so dumb. Anyway, a large powered exoskeleton which makes the user invulnerable to damage. Razorbeard purchases it and plans for his final confrontation with Rayman. Soon after, Rayman infiltrates the ship and finds both Razorbeard housed inside the Krogoth and Glowbox in the crow's nest of the ship. During combat, Razorbeard accidentally collapses the floor, plunging him and Rayman into the lava-filled furnace. Lee telepathically saves Rayman from his fall and creates him a flying shell, which he uses to knock Krogoth into the lava. Razorbeard escapes the ship in a small shuttlecraft and initiates the self-destruct, which destroys the ship with Rayman still inside. Believing Rayman to have died in the explosion, Rayman's friend holds a memorial service in his name, having only recovered Rayman's left shoe. However, the shoe suddenly reacts to an oncoming presence as a limping, one-footed Rayman emerges nearby, much to the joy of everyone present. I played Rayman 2 after Rayman 3, but once I started my first playthrough, I always thought, how in the world did they come up with this? Every single level is unique and themed to the story depending on where you are. Let's not even forget the fact, the amazing soundtrack they always have playing in the background. Whatever you're doing, doesn't matter if you're climbing a tree, you're riding a shell, you're fighting a boss, you're walking through a forest. Every single thing you do has a unique sound and soundtrack, and it's just amazing, and it is something that you don't see in today's standards. Whatever intent they had for the level, they did a perfect job showing it to the player. And what I really liked in the first mission, for example, they designed a peaceful map, slowly letting Rayman test out the abilities, and the further you go, the more pirate stuff is seen, showing you that you seem to come closer to their HQ. For a game from 1999, graphics are dated, obviously, but the colorful textures make the game feel vibrant and alive. I promise, when you do play it, you're not even paying attention to the graphics. You will be fully immersed by the tragic story of Rayman: The Great Escape. Rayman 3 saw its release in 2003 and is the third installment of the Rayman series, but it's the first Rayman where Mitchell Ansel did not complete the project. Rayman 3 is the first Rayman I played and probably my favorite out of the three. I am not going to talk about the HD port because, well, it does look better in some aspects. The game had a few annoying bugs. A few as in what I have encountered. I had random crashes, enemies not spawning in, dialogue from the cutscene was not in sync with the video, which is something I will show you during the story talk. Also, why did they remove Wanna Kick Rayman? If not mistaken, they replaced it with Rayman Origins screenshots. I'm not really sure, just let me know if that's the case. Let's take a deep dive into the story. Andre, supposed to have grown out of pure evil, appears and transforms red lumps into black lumps to join him. The group eventually gains enough hair from various animals throughout the forest to dress themselves as scarecrow-like hoodlums. In the middle of the process, Murphy, one of the residents and workers of the very council, discovers them. Andre later finds him hiding nearby, and he and his black lump pursue him. Murphy is chased to a small clearing where Rayman and his friend Glowbox are sound asleep. Just after Murphy reaches them, Glowbox is awakened by the commotion, and now aware of the situation, Glowbox helps Murphy to get Rayman, who is still asleep, to safety. In the process, Glowbox accidentally removes Rayman's hands, forcing Murphy to pick up Rayman by his hair and fly him away from the clearing himself. In an attempt to save himself, Glowbox runs to safety, taking Rayman's hands along with him. As time passes, more hoodlums invade the forest. After Rayman wakes up, he and Murphy reach the entrance of the council and discover Glowbox hiding in a barrel. Just as Rayman gets his hands back from Glowbox, Andre and a few of his minions appear. Following Glowbox as he flees into the council, as Rayman and Murphy pursue them, they learn of Andre's evil plan, to taint the world hard so he can create an army of hoodlums. Eventually, Andre catches up with Glowbox, who accidentally swallows the evil creature. Rayman attempts to seek out a doctor who can rid Andre of Glowbox's insides, and Murphy departs from the team. Warning Rayman, the black lump may force Glowbox to drink plum juice despite the latter's allergy to it. Rayman meets up with 3 doctors, Otto Psy, Romeo Petty, and Art Ridus. After all 3 doctors make independent attempts at purging Andre by using various parts of Glowbug's body as musical instruments, they get rid of him after collaborating in Art Ridus' clinic room. Refusing to admit defeat, Andre teams up with Reflux, a member of the Knaran race that Rayman had defeated to get to Art Ridus. Reflux steals the scepter of the Lictus, which is a god worshipped by his people, from the child king of the Knaran, and uses it to increase his power, which in turn will allow Andre to reproduce infinitely. With Glowbug's help, Rayman climbs to the top of the tower of the Lictus and faces Reflux, and Andre as the former transforms into a giant winged monster. After the prolonged battle, Rayman and Glowbug destroy Reflux, and Rayman turns Andre back into a red lump by scaring him by pulling a face, which results in all the black lumps turning back into red lumps. Shortly thereafter, Rayman and Glowbug return to the clearing that they were in before. Before they resume their nap, Glowbug admits that he misses Andre and would like him back, but Rayman says it's not a good idea and does not know how to get him back. Glowbug says that a red lump has to be scared to be a black lump, to which Rayman replies that he would hate to imagine what could scare a lump. A flashback to before the beginning of the game reveals that Rayman unwittingly created Andre when his hands went off on their own and scared a red lump with frightening shadow puppets. I have to admit, the last sentence, I'm not really sure if it's a flashback, but if that's the case, just let me know, because I don't know if that's true. To me it feels like they wake him up again, and that's a cliffhanger for Rayman 4, but that's all. After all of this, where in the world is Rayman 4? It's believed that Rayman Raving Rabbids was going to be Rayman 4, but as history shows, it's clear as day it is not Rayman 4. So, what happened? I'm not going to talk about how Ubisoft works, because with all the noise that's been going on, I'm sure everyone has seen it by now. A few years ago, a big leak of what Rayman Raving Rabbids was supposed to look like was leaked to the public. Let me show you a few things here. Personally, I feel like the game was ruined the moment they decided to use the rabbits. You can still see some DNA from Rayman 3 and 2, but this ain't it for me. I'd rather see them using the Rayman 3 formula. Also, if you look at this leak, where in the world is a place for Andre to have its return, if it wasn't a flashback? Taking you down with rabbits? Not really. If you're a fan of Rayman like me, there's a website called RaymanPC.com. Basically a library filled with Rayman content and special mod projects keeping the franchise alive. Basically everything about the franchise can be seen on the website. Now, the community seems to be really in love with Rayman, because there are insanely creative fans out there making full remakes that look incredible. Just take a look at this full remake of Rayman 3.
Check it out! The Fairy Council! If you're looking for action, this ain't the place. Nothing but wacky spinsters around here. This manual just blows my mind. It explains the switch's trigger mechanism. Duh! Please, who's responsible for this garbage?
Who's there? What's there? Who's there? Anyone?
Hey, sounds like Glowbox.
Hey! Rayman!
Say, got room for a third? All this happiness in the beginning of the game. Something bad is gonna happen, I know it.
In October 2024, Ubisoft released a statement, and I quote, "We are pleased to confirm Ubisoft Multiplier, I don't care, and Ubisoft Milan have recently started an exploration phase on the Rayman brand. The project is still in its early stages and we will share more details later." End quote. Now, reading this made me jump sky high. In all honesty, we're finally done spamming Ubisoft with the quote, "See you in Rayman 4." Are we actually doing this? For years, nothing has been done with Rayman, but somehow this year, and by this year I mean 2024, he seems to come by everywhere. There is a plush, the Rayman 2 beta leak, a Rayman map in X-Defiant. Michel Ancel saying he's asked as a consultant for Rayman. I can't remember where, but I saw a video, I think from Corkben, speaking about that we are getting a remaster or remake and a completely new Rayman game. I'd like to see them properly remake Rayman 3 because, well, you saw the remake of a fan earlier and it looks like a totally new game. With its ambitious lighting and shading in Rayman 3, I think it will look amazing. On the other hand, Rayman 3 already had a remaster, so maybe it's time Rayman 2 gets one. I know there is a fan-made remaster also out there. I don't know. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. And I will keep all of you posted. And on that note, bring back Rayman. See you guys in the next video. Bye.